Rebekah,
Yeah.
God damn it, I knew I was going to fuck it up again. How do you pronounce your last name again?
Maciorowski.
Maciorowski, as she chugs, Rebekah
Mhm.
Maciorowski, as she chugs a Coca-Cola is here, and she is on the front lines of Ukraine right now. She is the medic that you guys have been seeing all over Instagram, who somehow makes herself still look absolutely gorgeous in a uniform, and she is over there helping, not only fighting, but keeping her people to the left and right of her alive. And she is a medic that I've admired for a very, very long time. Social media is an incredible tool. Without it, we wouldn't be sitting here. So I am grateful for the opportunity. Most importantly, let's start again. You are an American RN and you were over in Ukraine. You've been there since 2002. Tell me why you decided to go all the way over to
2022.
2022, because that's a proxy war that would be going way too long. But well, I digress. 2022. Tell me why you decided to go to Ukraine.
I have a background working overseas as a nurse, kind of on a volunteer basis, and really felt like called to work in communities and countries that had low resources and people that really needed the help. I felt like America had so many healthcare workers. And after my first trip to Mexico, just seeing like the lack of accessible healthcare and the massive need for like even basic physicals for so many people prompted me to use all of my vacation time to go country. And so when, yeah, go ahead.
Your vacation time, you vacation in Ukraine.
Yeah, I would. I was working. I was working 2 jobs. I was working at in a trauma center and at the VA.
And at the VA. Okay. So prior to being an RN, were you a United States military member at all?
No, which is
Okay.
ironic because three of my siblings were, and I was the one of the older four. In fact, I'm a triplet. My triplet sister and triplet brother both served.
Okay.
But I was the one that didn't.
Well, can't say that anymore now, can we?
Enough.
So let's
No.
okay, so like, since we're on the family topic, how does everybody feel about you being over there, let alone being over there as long as you have?
I think my family just kind of like, oh, well, that's Becca. Like, she went over here and worked and she went over there and worked and she really loves what she's doing. So like they know me.
Right.
I think they knew I would do something like this.
It tracks for you.
My sister sends medical supplies over. I talked to my younger brothers, particularly about what's going on. Yeah. And they're super supportive.
So with your family members having served, did they deploy in the GWA era?
Yeah.
Okay. So you have a sounding board for some of the really horrific things that you're having to experience.
Just a little, I would say a little different atmosphere here. I think the biggest part was trying to explain to them like the differences in like resources and even like techniques of warfare, and trying to like explain like, well, we couldn't do things on the scale that maybe they had been able to do on their deployment.
Right. It does seem like from afar you're doing a lot more with a lot less.
Yeah, I would say that's the case of every single Ukrainian here.
Right. There is a couple different organizations and friends of mine that are either there or on the ground right now in Ukraine, in places obviously I'm not going to say, but they are there, and kind of the reports that we're seeing, and we talked about this right before we had to switch platforms, which was the escalation of violence and things like that. And one of the things that you stated to me, and I think it's important to acknowledge, is that recently, and we're recording this is November 26th right now, over the past week, we've seen a massive escalation, whether it's in media being stated that UK weapons have been launched into Russia. And you're telling me that it's actually, you're seeing the opposite. You're seeing a ton come in toward you from Russia. So it seems like they're ramping up on their side of things.
Oh yeah, absolutely. We call things like spicy,
mm-hmm.
A little noisy. And I would say this has been probably one of the noisiest, spiciest weeks so far in this direction in in a while.
When you say a while, are you talking about since you've been there, or are you talking about since the beginning?
I'm talking about since probably August.
Right.
In August, we were in New York.
Wow.
And so that was like kind of the heat of the battle area.
Right.
And then now we're by Touretsk, which this is all public information for the people out there worried about OPSEC. You can easily find that 53rd Brigade is in this direction, you know, et cetera, et cetera.
Right.
But no, it's been definitely the intensity has significantly increased, as has the flow of wounded and dead.
How are you? I have a million questions, and obviously I'm trying to be very careful with not pushing buttons in directions we know that we can't, but we are seeing and hearing a lot of things like there is just not enough Ukrainian fighters. There's just not enough people. We just don't have enough boots on the ground. Is that actually fact, or are you guys handling things better than what the media wants to state?
No, I would say that one of the biggest things is we don't have the capacity or the technology to defend ourselves adequately. An example of this would be not enough artillery shells.
Yeah.
So or broken systems. So when we do get the weapon supplies that do come in, they're rat fucked.
Yeah.
Essentially before they get to us. Even like from my experience, all of the armored vehicles have been rat fucked, to put it plainly. And so they're stripped of valuable items. They don't come with some spare parts, and the training is not there. Luckily, guys are smart. They're able to teach themselves stuff like that. The one thing they can't come out with is like artillery shells. Like they can't come up with howitzers, 2 millimeter, 120 millimeter. They can't pull those out of thin air. So what's happened is that we are conserving, and our enemy continues to bombard us, and we don't have a chance to even fight back. So for instance, like in New York, it went down to 5 shells a day that we could send back from our positions. And of those 5 shells, foreign supplied, only 2 would work.
Right.
So
because the foreign supplied rounds that
meanwhile,
you're getting, who are they coming from?
I can't say exactly. I can just give broad
Okay.
examples.
Okay.
The rounds that we're getting, we haven't recently been resupplied. We're hoping to see those coming in the coming days. Really, really hoping to see some of the restocks or some resupply. A lot of the aid that has been promised in the past too is still on defense contracts that hasn't yet been, like, they haven't yet created the supply.
Right.
And so it's kind of a waiting game.
Right.
And yeah, just making out the best we can.
Yeah, I'm aware that we at Canada have sent, I was an artillery gunner, and we have sent our 777s. We've sent everything that we have. We don't have anything in this country. We also don't have any rounds. We also don't have any ammunition being made. We have absolutely fuck all to send over, and everything's sitting in Latvia. So if you would like some shit, you should call Latvia, because all of it's sitting on the border there waiting to be used. So there are rounds, they're just not making its way to you. And I think there's several reasons why that is the case. Long term, do you plan to stay until this is over? And whichever that looks like?
Yes. I can't leave my soldiers, Kelsey.
I know.
These are my guys. I'm not going to leave them. And they know that.
Yeah.
And I know that.
And I think that's one of the things
it wouldn't
too.
Be right.
No, it's not right. And I resonate with that more than anything. But what I would say is that it is interesting to see kind of how they are formulating this media, saying that this is going to be an aggressive escalation of violence and that they are not seeing this end anytime soon. Although I have to ask, forget the political side of the person, forget who the person is. Does anybody over there feel any extra hope knowing that the current administration is going to change in January? I heard a laugh, so I'm going to go with the word no at the end of that.
No, it's okay. No, that is unfortunately that there's not much hope there. But there's things we can change and there's things we can't change. And I find that my attention and time is best focused on things that I can change.
Of course.
And so I put my energy and thoughts and conversation into that.
I guess the reason I ask and the reason I bring it up is it does seem like that is the one person that the foreign president would actually sit down and have a conversation with. It doesn't seem like there was ever going to be anything but more war with the current. And so it does give a little hope for us, at least, because it seems like will respect him enough to have a conversation. Now, my question really, it's not that you're speaking for every Ukrainian, but I think you are a pretty big voice for the military itself right now. So will they accept a ceasefire if that came down? I mean, because you guys are currently being invaded to the point where it feels like Ukraine is running out of their homeland. Would they even accept a ceasefire at this point, or are they going to fight to get every other piece of the land back? And is that realistic?
I think that's an excellent question. I think that's an excellent question, not for me, rather towards the Ukrainian government, because I have absolutely no say in what they will or will not do. My life consists of just every day with the guys that are here on the ground, right, and doing everything I can to keep them supported. So I can't speak to what the Ukrainian government will do. That is a world far removed from here. This is Donetsk Oblast, and I don't know what's going to happen tomorrow.
Right.
So I would be a fool to predict what could happen, like, in global policy.
Right, for sure. I'm thinking about maybe the morale on the ground and maybe the individuals you're around daily that are looking at their homeland going, would we accept this is as the lines drawn, as the lines were, if we could accept a ceasefire? Or would those soldiers say, we are pushing forward, we want all of our land back?
I think that would be a question to ask the soldiers.
Yeah.
I know a lot of my soldiers have family and occupation. And for them, and family and occupation that happened since the full-scale engine began.
Right.
And the idea of having to live with the fact that they may never see their loved one again. I mean, I can't imagine how they feel. So really, I think it's a question for the soldiers.
I'd love to talk to any of them that would be willing to have a conversation with me if we could make that happen ever down the road.
I'd love to arrange that. Someone speaks English.
Yeah, that would be absolutely incredible. So the reason I'm asking you these is because you are the ones that are closest to them. And I've never had the opportunity to sit down with one. The only Ukrainian soldier that I've actually talked to was shot by a Russian and sent me the bullet he got out of his hip to turn into a piece of jewelry. That was my only comms with an actual person on the front. So it was interesting to kind of get his perspective. But from your perspective and from what you're seeing and from the morale, how is the morale right now going into winter, which is obviously miserable over on your side of the world right now?
So it's really unit to unit.
Yep.
And AO to AO.
Yeah.
So I know, like, within my battalion, we work together to keep morale high. We're like a family. And so we do have like that structure and support where, you're in the shittiest of times, but you're all together.
Right.
Like, I think the same could be said for every unit. Like, if it's a deeply connected unit, especially if they've been through a lot of fierce battles together, I'd say, despite the circumstances, they really have like a fierceness to them that can't be fucked with.
Right. Yeah, there's that collective suffering. And once you go through something really hard together, it's really hard to break that up. I understand that. And we talked about this before, and you being a medic and obviously, being through all of the things you're through. And you had mentioned before, you have the people with you that you could communicate with and talk with and share these things with, and you have your family members. But other than that, how are you coping? And I know, again, morale is a big piece of it, but how are you coping yourself being, I don't like to play the fucking gender card, but again, you're a woman and I've been a woman on the front lines. So how has that been with you fighting as a woman, as a medic, and the level of respect that you're receiving?
Oh, I think, and even actually from American military that visited recently said it is night and day than you see in the Western counterpart countries of women serving versus there. It's night and day. I have actually not faced like any issues. If anything, it's been super, super, super encouraging to see the amount of acceptance and encouragement from the Ukrainian soldiers who, like, women in this country are like, they're the mamas, they run the world. And that, I think, is really behind a lot of the culture that prevails here in terms of how they treat their women. They're not when they're like, is like, after we've been together through so many things, it's it's never like, and at no point was it ever like you had to like prove yourself, or it was like, okay, if you made it this far, like, you can go to the position, then okay, and looking around, and they're like, okay, like, let's go. It's not like, oh no, it's the girl is coming.
Yeah.
So it's one side. They don't see gender. It's one more person with them on their side. They don't give a crap if you have a dick or a vagina. We're a collective.
It's funny because you and I both sit here and say that and laugh because we understand that that's really all it is. It's another person.
I was like, oh, never, never. They're
Say
like,
that again.
oh, amazing, badass. Like, let's go. I'm with one of my soldiers who speaks English. She speaks English very well.
Oh, good.
She just asked me what it's like fighting as a girl with the military, and I said, women in this country run the world. I said, I have had such an amazing time. Like, the guys are very encouraging. Are you okay? Yeah. Okay.
Good. Well, I'm glad that you have somebody else there too that is clearly somebody it looks like I might end up having a conversation with. So I'm happy to hear that. But the reason I ask about the female thing, and that's a real thing. If you've had a sister that served in the American military, I served in the Canadian military, that's a real thing. And it's like you and I can
Yeah,
laugh about
she's told me like, this is like, she's like, this blows my mind. Like, the odds that are stacked against you, like the discrimination that comes at you on a daily basis, the derogatory comments, the, like, everything.
Mhm.
And I couldn't fathom that, and that would not be a army I would want to fight in.
Which
And
is
if that were the
funny.
case here, I wouldn't be fighting in this war.
Well, that's what I was going to ask you, because if you are putting your life on the line for these men and there is any form of that towards you, I wonder how you were coping with it. But it sounds like there has been none of that. It sounds like there's none of that at all. They're just happy that you
No,
were there
okay, let me
fighting.
tell you how safe I feel with my soldiers. Okay, let me tell you how.
Tell me.
My sister's friend sent me a care package, and in the care package was a taser, some pepper spray, I think, and a baton. And this was like what she was wanting. Like, she was just like, because she's there with all these men. And we opened the package together, and I was just like, yo, can you show me how, like, do you want this? Oh, this is fun. Like, I'm like immediately distributing among the soldiers. Like, that's how safe I feel. Like, I don't need this. And if anything were to happen to me, 100% my boys would do anything for me.
Right.
No, like, my boys would do anything. In fact, when I was blown up, my boys came and got me, and also worked together to help rescue me.
So I wanted to ask you about that, but I didn't want to pry, but you touched on it. So when was this?
I've been like in two major injuries, but the last one was in New York, and I was with my team in I'm going in my M113 to pick out some bodies of the soldiers, and they placed a saboteur group placed an anti-tank mine, which we hit. And yeah, it was I don't think the blowing up part was as hard as the being stranded in no man's land with no comms.
Right.
That was, I think, a pretty difficult situation to navigate, because I had a medic backpack, one AK with, I think, 2 or 3 magazines, and not a clear actually not a clear understanding of exactly at what point we were. And my guys worked together and helped us get out. We went on foot and went in like we call it the Satka, like the forest line and the tree line, because there was a tank shooting nearby. There was a lot of small arms fire, and it was coming from all directions. So when we got blown up, if we had gone to the right, like gotten out of the MCA and gone to the right, it would have been like walking right, but got out and left. And my commanding officer was like watching on the bridge, like maybe a couple kilometers from us, and saw like the explosion, and then everyone was really quiet, and they sent a thermal drone up and watched for our heat signatures. And when they saw that we had 3 heat signatures out, then they were like, they're like, we can see what we're gonna do. And we the Russian drones and our drones, and obviously like infantrymen. So it was complex.
Hey guys, this episode is brought to you by Good Living. I am so excited to tell you about something that's become such a meaningful part of my wellness routine, Good Living. Now, this isn't any brand. This is actually a brand I know all of the owners behind. And let me tell you, their integrity, their dedication, and their quality is the real deal. Their microdosing and functional blends are crafted with intention, and you can feel it. Everything is tested and made to support you in tapping into your own rhythm. We're talking about blends for anxiety, depression, and stress, ADHD, brain health, inflammation, sleep, and energy. Seriously, they have thought of everything possible. I know firsthand how much love they pour into every single product. So if you're ready to check them out and explore more, go to itsgoodliving.com. And trust me, it's a journey worth taking. That's itsgoodliving.com, itsgoodlivin.com. And make sure to use the code BRASS and get 20% off your first order today. And brought to you by XXXY Athletics. You guys can check them out at xx-xyathletics.com and make sure you use the code Kelsey20. That will help you save. I'm so excited to be a new ambassador of XXXY. I absolutely love what they stand for, and I'm proud to work with them because they are founded on truth, dedication to quality, and they are built for style and performance. Women deserve the opportunities that sports and single-sex spaces provide because sex matters at the end of the day. It is the single biggest determinant of athletic performance, and it's completely unfair and dangerous, as most of you know, to allow males who are XY chromosome to compete with girls and women who are XX in sports. You guys can share your stories just by doing the hashtag workout speak out. Tag myself, Kelsey_Sharon, and the XX_XY athletics on Instagram, and we will share everything. We need to get fit and speak our minds, mobilize into a force that fights back for women's sports. So start fighting. The way that you do that is go to XX-XY Athletics, go use the code Kelsey20 at checkout, slap on that gear, signal to the world that you are done allowing others to walk into female spaces. I believe in this brand. I believe in the mission. I believe in what they do. So go grab some now.
One point made it to a store, and my secondary medic, Sasha, his phone, he obviously had no communication, but he had a screenshot of Google Maps, like a screenshot, and he just geolocated. And he, unbeknownst to us, my old commander had sent the drone boys up, and they were basically like electronic warfare, dueling the Russian FPVs that were coming at us. And at some point they tried to signal us as well, like which direction to go, but because we were like trying to stay in cover, we didn't see that. So we got to like an old magazine. If we walked up this road, we would walked back to our own territory.
Okay.
And so we made there was an area without cover, so we made a beeline for it. I was pulling my wounded, and we got to, it's kind of made us for it. Let's sprint. At this point, like my old commander saw us on the drones and sent coordinates to my battalion commander. And I told Sasha, my secondary medic, I said, I'm going to go find some friendlies. And he's like, no, I'm going to find the friendlies. And I was like, no, I'm a girl. They're not going to shoot me as fast. I'm going to find the friendlies. He's like, no, you stay with Krasachik. And like, it was just like this thing. And as we were like having this talk, we hear like this car pull up and we're like, who would have a car out here?
Right.
And so Sasha goes out there and he's got his gun aimed at the gate. And he's like, who's like told to like, who's there? And they said the Zul, like Ukrainian. And so they're like, follow my voice. So he came and he like had his right hand. And so his left hand. And so he had his right hand raised, but he was like pointing the gun ready to fire. And then he peered over and he saw that was my commander.
Oh,
so they got us out there and they actually drove us out in like a really old car and like blew out all the tires on the way out. And like my one commander had his AK out this window and the other one was just like driving at the break of dawn. Now I didn't know all of the effort that went into rescuing us until later when they casually mentioned, I was like sending my drone boys out to like, send you signals where to go. And like, they were just chill. And then my other medical team came in to like another point and like took us back in the ambulance.
mm-hmm.
So that was cool. Unfortunately, my driver sustained some like really life-altering injuries. He just recently returned from like the hospital and rehabilitation, and he's like, he won't quit the military. Like he still wants to help out, which is awesome. But somebody told me at the beginning of the war, I don't know who, and I think it was an American, like, you can't help the Ukrainians. Like, they're just going to leave you for dead since you're an American if something happens to you. Yeah. Some people said that. And I was just like,
some people said that to you?
You have a good case in point that that's not going to be the case.
Is that, I was going to say, you've never had that feeling once since you've been there.
Oh my God, no. I feel safer with the Ukrainians than I do sometimes in America.
Well, I mean,
I'm like my family.
It's like, you're not wrong a little bit sometimes. I mean, I know people are going to hate that comparison, but like if you walk down the street right now in America, your chances of being shot in certain places are pretty damn high, and or having a rope thrown over your neck and drugged between two cars and raped. So, the fact that you've, yeah, you got some shit over here, love. So it's wild to hear that you've had such a positive experience, because I think that is the misconception, is that women are not, I don't say women are not welcome over there, but women are putting themselves in more significant danger because they're females working over in a war zone like that. And I'm just not seeing that. I'm seeing the complete opposite. I see women who are raped on bases in America, and I haven't heard a single issue from women over there that are fighting in Ukraine. If anything, I see that women are being more respected over in Ukraine because they're not DEI hires. They're actually useful females that know what they're doing.
And not only that, is that if something like that were to happen.
Oh, yeah.
I think that any serviceman who found out some other serviceman did that would personally take care of him. Yeah. Yes. And my soldier is saying 100%. Like I've had people who've like irritated me in the past, and my soldiers have been like immediately like, maybe he could go bye-bye. Like, just like joking, but they would never. My sister says that, and she's here with me, by the way.
Okay.
Off record.
Don't say anything that's off. No, don't say anything that's off the record. Don't say it.
Okay, won't say it. My sister said, okay. On a phone call.
Okay.
That she feels that I am safer with the Ukrainians in an active war zone than if I were an American female working at a military base in America.
So listen, I can agree to that. I worked with the Americans as a female. I've worked with the Canadians as a female. I've worked with the British as a female. I echo that statement. I felt safer with the British than I felt with the the Canadians and I felt safer with the British than I felt with the Americans. So there is a different understanding of women on the front lines. So her statement is not the first time I've heard of an American female say that. Her statement is not the first time I've had other American females privately direct message me about it. And her statement is not something that it goes unheard regularly. There's a constant problem we have with women being sexually assaulted. And then you have male special operators saying things like women should not be on the front lines. And my response to that often is, if they can do the job, they deserve to be there. If they're not a DEI hire, number one. Number two, if they're not a liability. And number three, how about you just keep your dick in your pants?
Yeah.
Either you can handle it or you can't. And
Correct.
if you can handle it and you can do your work and perform well, divide. Go
Right.
ahead. Like no one's they're gonna be like, oh, okay, like great.
Right.
Because there's like not any, like I said, it's a collective. It's another
Right.
person on the team.
Right.
And it's not like this male versus female that I think it's like, okay, cool, we're working together against one common enemy.
Right. So speaking of your sister being there, is she on duty or is she on her own terms?
She's on a short vacation to Poland.
That's hilarious. You and all my other friends in all black on short vacations. I love that.
She came just to drop off some stuff.
Right. Yeah. Same with my other buddies.
Yeah.
Yeah. They drop off some stuff, take a few things off the face of the earth, come back. It's fine. Anyway, I digress. So what do you need? How can we help you? How do we send things? How can we support you? Because it seems like from what I'm gathering over there, you guys have a lack of weaponry, lack of ammunition, lack of medical supplies, and lack of support, because that really is what it seems like from where we're sitting. So if I'm perceiving that wrong, feel free to let me know. But what do you most need? What could be most useful outside of ammunition? Because I cannot supply you with ammunition.
I understand. A lot of this stuff it can be found like in country. I think finance is just kind of hard. Like the pay here is $500 a month. It's 600 first of all, $600 a month, and then you get some like combat pay on top of that.
Right.
But that's that's really nothing to live on. So a lot of the soldiers are able to get more so like the protective gear that's issued, because this is a war, because they're mass producing the stuff, and there's never been like an instance where this stuff had to be manufactured so quickly.
Right.
People are kind of just allotted the same size or maybe the same fit because it's just uniforms being made and made and made. So if someone wants something that's going to be customized, and I always say like your body armor and your helmet needs to be comfortable to you. Otherwise, you're not going to wear it. And if you don't wear it, then it's not going to protect you. So some of the stuff is like very simple. Like a soldier in the Ukrainian army will be given some body armor, and the plates might be heavy, right? There's no guarantee that he'll have like ceramic plates or anything like that. And maybe 4 magazine pouches. And there's no radio pouches issued. There's no tourniquet holders issued. A lot of times like a war belt system isn't issued, because they have just the very bare minimum. So anything outside of that, where it to be a helmet, even a helmet you could put adaptations on, you were going to buy yourself. And if you're a soldier that has a family, you have to think about if you're going to want a nice RPS war belt system, or if you're going to want, the little playhouse for your 4-year-old daughter.
Right.
That make that decision. What do you think they're going to choose? Something to support their family. Logistics is a big issue. Just to have this phone conversation with you, or really just to run a single day in the life, you have to have autonomous infrastructure. And what does that mean? That means like generators, Starlinks. There's in this town, there's no water supply. Really, there might be a water turned on for 1 hour a day. And then there's curfew too. So say you needed something urgently, you have 3 hours to get that. And if you're on the position, you can't go at all. And if you don't have a ride in a town, you can't get that at all. So vehicles are really needed, actually. And people think about sending ambulances and everything like that, which is all fine and good. But really, if you look at the terrain of your Ukraine, especially with the
Yeah.
muddy things. Like four-wheel drive car, manual four-wheel drive diesel cars are the best because these cars and vehicles are destroyed so quickly, so quickly. And it's not like there's a slew of them waiting to come and replace. Like my evacuation car is like a Buhanka. It's like a really old, like 1980s Buhanka. And people are like, why would you use that instead of an ambulance? And the answer is because it can get over the terrain. The ambulance has a lower threshold.
Right.
But like even something like a T4, like a Volkswagen Transporter, even an older model, like those can be used for medevacs as opposed to these fancy ambulances that can't make it over the gear or over the ground. They're gonna get stuck in the holes.
Right.
Starlinks are needed to facilitate all communications. Like I said, eco flows, generators, basic gear for the guys. Now, also here's another nuance too. If you're wounded and I cut your uniform off of you, that's one less uniform you have, and you only get two.
Right.
Right. So when you turn in service, like let's hope you have some more money, or you can go to the supply sergeant and request a new uniform, but that might take some time. So when you ask what's needed, basically everything. Sorry, that was probably not the
No, it
answer.
is. No, it is. It's a reality check for most people that are going to listen to this, right? Because I think that's the perception, is that we have now sent billions and billions and billions and billions of dollars over to a war zone, and somehow it's not making it to the actual people that are fighting the war.
Well, I invite anybody who thinks that their money is going to waste to come just spend a day here, and you'll realize like well, I don't think anyone understands how hard it is to be here for the soldiers to survive a normal day. You don't wash your hands, you don't wash your face if you don't have running water. Light, power, heat, it's a luxury. Water is a luxury. A clean set of clothes, it's a luxury.
Constant shelling.
There's like if you count the incoming per minute, it's
6 incoming rounds per minute.
usually 6 or more. And we're this is in the safe point, medical point.
Say that again, Rebecca.
I don't know. My sister says like if you count the incoming rounds, could be over 6 minutes, and in like the safe zone. Shelling, like in just on a normal afternoon, and that's like in a safe zone.
And 6 annual.
There's, I don't know if you know what COBs are.
Yeah.
Yeah, just like usually 6 UNPK modules are dropped every day, every single day.
People die here every single day and it's not on the news.
Oh,
Well,
yeah,
I don't
because,
think-
well, nobody should be watching the news anyway, because it's all a bunch of propaganda lies. So I don't understand why that's even worthy of paying attention to. So that's why I wanted to have this
Oh,
conversation with you
But you know
here.
what frustration for me is, in mental health wise, is the biggest problem for me.
What?
It's feeling like the other people and the world don't give a fuck. That is the far more mental anguish to me than anything I experience here. Because here, when I experience it, I am supported by people who understand and accept and comfort. And anything I go through is automatically dismissed.
Yeah.
When you talk, people don't want to hear about Ukraine. They don't want to hear about this stuff. Or if they do, like, oh, well, Russia has it worse. Or, well, I heard we're doing this and that. Well, I heard you guys are going to get some leopards soon. But they don't want to hear about putting pieces of your friend in a bag or trying to deliver news about someone's death. They don't want to hear that stuff. They want to give you a, oh, well, we're sending a lot of money over there. They don't want to hear about the actual horror and suffering. That's been my experience with a lot of Americans.
Well, good news.
Like,
I'm not.
Sucks. Mary just met them. That is what's bad for my mental health, Kelsey.
So, and this is why I'm asking, right? Because good thing I'm not American. I want to hear about this. I want to hear about what you go through. I want the reality. I think we got her. I think we got her back. There she is. Yeah, we got her.
I'm channeling you with a beanie.
Listen, I'm here for the beanie. Listen, anytime you need an extra shit kicking to just go, put the beanie on and you just bring the energy. I got you.
It's from the Battle of Bonavaha. It survived.
That's legit. That thing's going in a museum. You know that, right?
I don't know if I don't give it away.
Shrine.
It's a
A
shrine.
shrine
Yeah,
of hair.
damn right it is.
A lock of hair and my beanie.
Just that's all you need, a photo of you, a lock of hair, and the beanie, and that thing's going to be in like the museums for the next decades of our life if the rest of the world doesn't blow itself the fuck up. So you said something there at the end that I think is so important. You said Americans and people, they don't want to know what it's like to pick up your friends and put them in bags, and that's the truth. I know, because when you start saying that out loud, they call you batshit crazy. I've been there. I feel you. So explain to me though. I want to know what that's like, because the people that are listening to this are 80% American. So tell me what that's like. Because if you're sick and tired of people saying they don't have no clue, that it's like they don't want to send money, they don't want to do these things, they don't know what it's like to be in the country, tell me what it's like so that they can resonate and understand. Make them feel yourself heard right now, please.
I want to so badly. I think that if they could put themselves in the shoes, okay, let's say that America was invaded tomorrow. There was, you know what? The movie really reminds me of Civil War.
Mm.
The desolation, the lack of fuel, needing benzene.
You can't tell it because you have to be strong.
Hmm?
You can't tell it what it's like because you have to be strong.
No, I wouldn't say that. I would say if they want to just know a day in the life, go and shut off all the systems in your house. Try to even live as a civilian here. Turn off your water, turn off your power, turn off your heating, make it winter. How are you going to survive? Don't have access to fuel, can't drive your car. How are you going to survive? A shell hits. What are you doing? Where are you going?
Right.
Then imagine you're in a trench. You're walking in 6 kilometers on foot with everything you need to survive for 2 weeks, 3 weeks, sometimes a month. On your back with your ammunition. Okay. What would you do? How would you feel? Imagine that you're being targeted nonstop by artillery and FPV drones, and you don't have a way to fight back. You don't have enough shells to send back. This isn't about tactics either, because your smoothest operator here will die in a trench because there's no room to clear when you don't have enough ammunition or magazines to lay suppressing fire. How would they feel if their loved ones were disconnected from them because they were in a territory that had been taken by another nation, to where they could not even call and see their wife's face? They couldn't hear their daughter's laugh. How would they feel? I don't think there's anything that can, I don't think there's any story shocking enough that can really open people's eyes, unfortunately.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that the people that want to know, and the people that care. And at some point, people are just uncomfortable with unpleasant, unhappy news.
Right.
But every single ounce of aid, it matters to the soldier who may not live to see the next day.
Right. That's why I'm asking.
You might be giving him the opportunity to see his family again.
Right.
With an extra shell, an extra round.
Yeah, it's not the same as Afghanistan. It's not like we have unlimited ammunition. It's not like we have unlimited rounds or anything.
We don't
like
even
that.
have air superiority. We don't even have we don't have medevac. The stupid questions that people say, or like the stupid recommendations people give me to, like, oh, you should set up like a mobile operating center, blah, blah, blah. And power it how? Okay, you have generators for me. Perfect. Where am I getting the fuel for that? Because the fuel is allotted to the machines first, the Technic, the armor. Okay, right. Perfect. And you want me to keep lead? Where? In a refrigerator. Where am I getting the refrigerator? That requires additional wattage of power. I need to save that for the ventilator.
Right.
Can you calculate how many kilowatts it takes to run a mobile, what do you call it? Forward operating hospital? I have to do it underground because we can't be seen. And there's no trees left because of the constant artillery shelling to provide cover. Where am I going to hide the vehicles? Like there's so many different nuanced things that people are like, oh, you should just take a shotgun and shoot at the drones. Yeah, okay.
Have you
Where am
seen
I
those
going to get the
drones?
soldiers from? No, it's not even like that. They're like mosquitoes. Yeah, what really pisses me off is GWOT veterans too that like ridicule the Ukrainian soldiers when I'm like a single soldier in the Ukrainian military, even in my unit, has seen more action than tens and tens and tens and tens of scores of other soldiers.
Right.
They're not like sitting there with like an indirect fire near their fob or like the occasional firefight or QBC. Like they're not doing that. They are sitting under shelling, trapped in buildings, constantly on death's door without stop.
Right. How do you
How
feel?
are you going to say that to people? People get offended by that.
Yeah, because people are soft and those people need to be offended. And you need to say that because it's a reality check that has to be brought forward, because otherwise you're going to have people sitting from their comfy ass couches saying that I fought in GY and it's the same. It's not the same. This is a different type of warfare. This is closer to World War I level shit than it is anything else that we've ever seen. This is not even remotely fucking close. So how do you communicate that when you go back to America? Is this one of the reasons, other than obviously leaving your people?
I don't even want to come back.
Like, that's what this is my point.
In this world. I have found a select few, on Twitter that really do care and want to help. And they do this. They help me buy medical supplies. They help me buy warm gloves for the guys. But as a whole, like, at some point, your words feel wasted.
Right.
7 years in service, a handful, like 0.1% of my friends,
My sister's 11 years in service, and she said of her service member friends, maybe 1% care about Ukraine.
But when they care, they care.
But when they care, they care. Yeah, it's true.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think that's a mix of a few reasons, though, right? You mean you have a society that's desensitized to violence and war, and we're kind of sick and fucking tired of it. So I can understand it, but I also can flip the coin and say, you're not in it. So how dare you have those feelings and thoughts? It's like, you can't expect people to be empathetic to something they've never felt, seen, experienced, or witnessed.
I think that the biggest thing is that people are not going to really understand it until it affects them personally.
Of course. That's like that anything else, right?
Yeah. And so that's kind of what I've made peace with. And that's why I've really just become more closed in and really focused on my time here with my soldiers, who are the only people that really do understand.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what keeps me sane, is being surrounded by people that get it.
When this is all over, because I do hope this ends sooner than later, not only for your people, but for literally every single person that's affected by this, because more war is not the answer. Do you see yourself staying? I can't see you coming back to America.
I really would like to do some kind of program for the soldiers that have returned that are having trouble integrating into society.
Yep.
And make some kind of network for them, whether it be like a community house that they can come to, PTSD help, place where they can feel safe and reconnect and talk to each other about their shared experiences, because they already, even just going on a simple vacation, sometimes come back early because they say nobody understands. Like, I just want to be back with people that get it. Yes. So creating a safe space for our veterans would be definitely something I would do. And so having the opportunity to take formal language lessons would be awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Because now I just speak what I'm spoken, like what I'm around, and like social conversations are really hard for me. Like your day-to-day conversations are hard, but like if you ask me to talk about the medicine or the war stuff, like I can communicate. But I won't like, hey, what's your favorite subject in school, or like, who was your childhood best friend? Like simple stuff like that. I'd like to learn the nuances of the language. That would be cool.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds like the most simplistic thing you're asking for. You're not really asking for much. You're asking for a communication tool.
Yeah, and what did I say? Communication is key.
Yeah.
Communication is key.
So whenever that happens, however that looks, you know that we are happy to help you here with whatever we do and all of our extensive network and however that looks. And we're going to make sure that we put calls out for things. And you and I will stay in touch, because I think there's a lot of things that we can probably do to hopefully help support you and those around you, because most importantly, it's not going to be the government that does the real work. It's going to be the people on the ground. So how do we best help you and support you and get you what you need and those guys what they need in the meantime? So you and I are going to keep in touch on that as long as you're comfortable with that. But I guess moving forward here, has anybody reached out to you to talk at all about this and your experience and what's going on the ground?
Sometimes, but it's like very vulturistic. I don't know if that's the correct word. It's usually for just like news stories or like promotion pieces. And I don't like to objectify my soldiers. I don't think that their stories should be told for clickbait.
No.
So I don't say yes to that. One thing that's been helpful is people, ask what I need concretely, and they have like Ukrainian connections. Like they have, well, for instance, like transcribing doctor's notes for the soldiers here who have been disabled. A lot of the stuff is handwritten. I had some people reach out and say, "Hey, I can read and write Ukrainian and have like this medical background. Can I assist?" Like that's helpful.
Okay.
Finding people that speak Ukrainian and or even Russian sometimes, because a lot of Ukrainians do speak Russian, to help with things like that. Like one big thing I'm trying to work on is like psychological support for the soldiers, like finding Ukrainian based therapists. That's a big thing.
Okay.
Like concrete ways to help. That's kind of one of them.
Okay.
Communication links.
Okay. I'm going to ask a favor of you so that you don't say it on here. In our direct message, can you send me where you want me to send people and where you want me to send communication tools and things like that, so that when people listen to this, they know directly where to reach out to, so that they can get to people on the ground where they can help support in actual concrete ways, rather than just sharing things and posting on social media. I want real actionable items. So if there's ways.
I'll give you my email because I check that pretty often.
Okay.
Yeah.
Are you comfortable with that email being, don't say it now, but are you comfortable with that email being put somewhere I just need somewhere that we can send people in the show description, that people can genuinely reach out when they have something that they can help you with.
Yeah. But it has to be concrete too, though, because there are a lot of people that be like very ambiguous about it. I tell people like straightforward, it's like the best way to help is either send cash.
Okay.
Because a lot of this stuff, like EcoFlows generators, this can be bought in country. And there's some people that want to send like expired medication from the US. I'm like, that doesn't help. I have pharmacies that I can have like through Novus Post to send me medication.
Okay.
So either cash, and you can specify winter tires, uniform, something like that.
Okay.
Or a concrete offer to help. If you don't have military experience, please do not ask me how you can come and join my unit. If you do not speak Ukrainian or Russian, please do not come and ask how you can join my unit.
Okay.
You will be a liability. If you cannot communicate with the people around you, you cannot serve.
Right.
If you do speak Ukrainian and you want to help in some kind of volunteering way, document transcription, helping find, just having someone to call and find like available resources. Like I need, and Donetsk Oblast, some soldiers to get MRIs, and I can't make a phone call necessarily and call and ask about MRI services. Someone who speaks Ukrainian can.
Right.
So language skills, probably top priority.
Okay. No, it's
and
important.
Please don't send me all of their hypotheses about how we should win the war. If you just do this, 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 and this, then it's going to be better, because trust me, my boys are innovative and they've probably already fucking tried it.
I guess my last two questions is, firstly, will you get me in touch with anybody who wants to talk and share their stories?
Yeah.
I fucking love that. Number two, how do I personally help you? Don't tell me send you money. I'm not talking about that. You know exactly what the fuck I'm talking about because I know you know. You know that I know that you know that I know. So how do I help you?
Let me stay where I am. Let me be with the people I love and care about who take care of me. That's what I want.
Okay. All right.
This
I
is
think
my safe place in an unsafe place. My soldiers.
I resonate with that, girl. I get it. I understand.
But I saw you did some artillery work, and I'll let you know that my howitzer boys, in exchange for tactical med training, they let me go to the position shoot the howitzer. It was really fun. I have a couple of videos of it.
You got to send me those
They're like,
videos.
okay, just how to tactical medicine. You coming to position, and we like write on the shells and everything. It was super super exciting.
Yeah, artillery is my baby. I love to blow things up. So next time you get a chance to send a round down rage, can you please put a big old heart from me? A big
I
old
will.
one.
Oh my God, I actually will sign a shell for you.
Will you really?
wanna-
And send me.
Yes, I will. Tell me what you wanted to say. We're gonna sign a shell for her and send a shell. Yeah, what?
Hell yeah.
I'll get Oleg to do it.
Okay.
Yeah, hell yeah. I will literally get off the phone and tell Oleg, yo, write this on the shell for me, and he'll do it.
Okay, write whatever you want. Just sign it, Kelsey Sharon, big fuck off heart. That's all I ask. Send, fire for effect that bitch. Hard down range. I want to see it. You have to send that to me. That will make my entire fucking existence.
Not, I will mail it from
Mail what?
when I return from Poland.
No, I'm gonna get Oleg to
When I
sign a
return
shell
from Poland.
Okay, cool. We'll do it.
I'll
Are
send
you-
it to her.
Goddamn bless. I'm so here for this. You just made my entire existence, you two. My God. I don't know.
She's cool.
Yeah, she's cool.
I can still hear you.
You're okay.
I'm okay. Good. I like it. I like it.
You're
I'm here for
okay.
it. I have to say to you two, this has been one of my most infuriating, frustrating, favorite fucking conversations I have ever had in almost 5 years of the
Thank
Kelsey
you.
Sharon perspective.
Really?
So
I
thank
like
you.
her.
Thank you, Kelsey.
This is not the last time. I hope you're consciously aware of that because I will make my ass all the way over there. So you better watch out because I will come.
I'll tell the howitzer boys to save some room for you.
Send some
Yeah.
rounds
And
on
they
range.
would let you do it. They would let you
They would
come.
love that shit.
They would
Oh.
love it.
If I can do anything, it's efficiently fire that fucking gun. So what I will say is I want photos.
Okay.
I want photos. Don't let me down. Don't start with me.
I'll let you down. I'm gonna get down right now.
All
All
right.
right, sweet.
Okay, listen, send me your stuff. Everybody else. This has been a wild ride from one of the most badass females I've ever met on the front lines of Ukraine and her American sister who's in Poland right now. Everybody else, we will see you all next week.